Hello everyone, Mondevu here, finally back with The Long Dark, and we're in a very familiar location. So, at the time of recording this, that's one of these days that should be a compilation, but I'm not going to be the one to make it because I got way too much crap to go through. Somebody will eventually be like, I'm going to make a compilation of all the times Mondevu said. But as you guys know, this was the starting location for The Long Dark for K-Bird series, and I think it's great that we actually got to start indoors for a change. That's really heckin' awesome, honestly. So we'll be able to go ahead and raid a lot of this stuff pretty soon. I'm going to leave it as is for now and just take the flares. Although I'm going to do a quick sweep for any tools. I wanted to get back into this just because I wanted to get back into it. Like, I wanted to. And I have a ton of things to talk about. I have so much to talk about. I have so much I'm honestly not even certain where to start. And as you can hear, I'm stumbling over my words. I apologize if my voice is a little bit too loud, but I'm trying to fix a consistent issue I've had between me and OBS where we fight over what the volume should be. Because if you've seen any of the videos I've uploaded in, I'm going to say mid-2023, because that's about the time I'm recording this, any of the videos that I uploaded at that time, there's some sound fluctuations. And some of it is because I was editing much older videos that were sitting on my computer for like a year or more. And some of it is because I was trying to play with settings and the game was too loud and I was too quiet, or vice versa. So, like for example, my ShibiDB video has a lot of unfortunate sound fluctuations in it. And like for me, on the editing side, it sounds decent, but like whenever I watch it on another device, it's like, I know they're saying ShibiD, but I can't hear it. And unfortunately, I no longer have all the footage to remake that video. So if there is ever going to be a replacement or an update to the ShibiD video, it will be through naturally recording fresh instances of ShibiD. So that's how all of that is going to work. I'm just going to do a quick little check-see. Oh, hey, Hacksaw's good. Just a quick check-see for toolsies. There's been several updates to the game since... Oh, that's cool. I'll leave that there. Since I last made any videos, there's been enough changes that I'm honestly not sure what a lot of them do. Because I took a real long break from this game, not just because I wanted to kind of wait and have more stuff be out to react to, but also because I wanted that dadgum cougar, and he's still not in the game yet. And I'm just like, ugh! I want this big cat in my game. I want to know how big of a threat it's going to be, because it's being advertised as being worse than the bear and the moose. So I'm just like, yes, please, give me this. Like, I want this. But that being said, this is going to be our starting base, possibly our main base, because out of all the locations that I could have started, Pleasant Valley has the biggest base and arguably the best, but isn't in the middle of nowhere, so it takes forever to go back and forth. Mystery Lake has a couple of good bases, but they're both really tiny, and one is significantly smaller than the other, so there's not a whole lot of storage space. And then, of course, Mountain Town has a great base, but we got stuck up there for so long, and I was just like, you know what? We'll just go back to where we started, and that's where I'm gonna kick things off. So right now I'm gonna leave all of this stuff in here on the shelf, because we're not too bad. We're good on hunger. We're fine on water. It's a decent time of day. I don't hear the weather doing weird things, so we're going to go ahead and look for supplies a bit further out for the start, just to get like some tools and stuff. Oh, and it may just be a bit further out. Okay, sorry. For me, I heard like a big thump kind of noise, and I was like, bear! But it's day one, and usually that's not the case. And speaking of bears, one of the updates to this game is the wildlife. At the time that I'm recording this, one of the updates involves a complete rework of the wildlife and like where it spawns, where it hangs out, etc. So normally there's like 4 wolves hanging out here and sometimes a bear. Granted, it's day one, so we're not going to see that anyway. But I don't think we're going to see it as much as we're used to seeing it. I'm used to having... You remember when we first started, I used to have to run to this garage to avoid all the wolves out here, and occasionally the bear. And, you know, even in other times when we've come back to this location, that's still been the case. So it's just kind of like, So, and I have already seen some differences. I saw some of them, because I had a file that I started to play just for fun, because... In the last video that in the last Long Dark video that I uploaded, y'all saw how frustrated I was getting with just trying to explore the new map. That's all I wanted to do, was share that experience with y'all. And the game was legitimately not letting me. It's like, nope, have bad weather. Nope, have bad weather. Nope, have bad weather. And on top of that, my supplies were dwindling. So I just said, screw it, scrapped the whole save file, and did something on easy mode just to look at the map. Because I'm just like, man, I was so mad. I was so mad. So I decided that was it. That was enough. Another of the changes they made is I can make my own fishing holes if I have the right tools. And that's pretty cool. Problem is, I have to maintain them as well. So it's kind of like, your fishing holes can freeze over. But it's a neat feature that I like, and I definitely do want to try. Let's see, what else? When I was doing that explore through, I started playing on some of these old maps that we're all familiar with. And I started out in Pleasant Valley just to kind of be like, okay, yeah, let's kind of see how some of these new changes are. And right away I noticed that the wildlife was different, because normally there's almost always 4 wolves and a bear hanging out by the farmhouse. And this time it took like 4 days for that to happen. And I saw the bear once during that time. The wolves were still there, but like they weren't always a constant presence. It took them a bit to show up, and I saw more deer. The rabbits were still kind of in the same general area that we tried to snare them in before. Or at least that I tried to snare them in before. I'm not quite certain if that's one that I managed to capture or not. But they were still kind of in the same area, but I feel like that one needs to be just a little bit more reliable anyway. But all the other spawns are redone. Like, there's obviously still going to be some places where it's much more likely to find certain creatures. Like, for example, I know that on that island there is a bear cave. There is much more likely to find a bear over there than anywhere else on the map, as opposed to, in comparison to, like, all the wolves we'll see across this ice and stuff. So that's kind of where that is for that. They also did a ton, and I mean a ton, with the food in this game. So in addition to all the, like, fresh spawns, yeah, I know, I'm headed back to base because I've been yammering instead of looking for stuff. In addition to all the fresh spawn is a weird expression for what I'm trying to talk about. In addition to loot table respawning, that's what it is. The loot tables were, like, overhauled. So in addition to that, the wildlife has been overhauled, and I'm excited about that because that's going to make the gameplay more different for me. So, like, places like, oh, I bet I could find the rifle here. Nope, less likely. Or I might find it on the first go still, because it's not like you can't find the same items in the same places. It's just your chances of it are a lot more different now because they overhauled the loot tables for every single map. Oh, hey, cool, the weather's going down. Now that I'm at a frostbite risk, thanks, the Long Dark. That's okay, we know how this goes. Thankfully, we are on extremely familiar territory, so I'm much more confident poking around and just taking a minute to... Let's just see how bad this really is. It's 8%, although my hypothermia risk is not much either, so I know that wind was real bad, which means our clothing is probably real bad. I feel like right here there should be some kind of loot sometimes. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Also, I'm going to pop in here real quick. This one I've probably covered already, but I know that popping open the visors actually does things now, because you might find information on a prepper cache or something in here. And I'm just like, oh, that's a really cool feature. There's finally a reason besides I couldn't open the trunk on this one to indicate to myself I looted this car. Because that's what I used to do, if you recall. I would make sure, oh, cool, I can search this trunk. I would go through the entire vehicle, and then if I could pop the trunk because I had the pry bar or it was like this, then, I'd go through that as well. But then if I could not pop the hood like so, I would pop the visors down to be like, okay, I explored this car. And I still do that. It's kind of a habit that's I've just kind of ingrained in myself. But yeah, it's just like, there's reasons for me to do this now. I'm genuinely looking for stuff at this point. And you never know where it's going to be. Obviously, it's not a guarantee. You're not going to find it in every single one. I thought the outline of that rock right there where my reticle is pointing was a bear for 2 seconds and was like, ugh! It's obviously not going to be in every vehicle. And I think I've found something once since they implemented this. But I also have not been playing, like, fervently. Like, I played a whole lot in the beginning there, just getting to the new maps and, like, the airfield and the hallway, as I call it, because I don't remember the official name of the thing anyway. I did a bunch of that. And so, for the most part, I've explored the, like, 2 maps that we have now, maybe 3. I keep thinking there's a third one, but every time I reference the game, it's like, no, these are going to go bad. Well, I'm going to have to... Ooh, hey, clothing! Let's get some clothing on. Clothing. Oh, no wonder we're cold. We got some rinky-dink shoes and, like, no hand gear. Oh, dang, we are freezing. Do you see this crap? This is awful. Okay. No wonder we're so prone to frostbite. We're not even warming up in here. That frostbite risk is creeping up there. We're going to have to go back inside pretty quick. I'm going to check the other vehicle real quick. That'll kind of be my last one. Yeah, see, I can't lift that trunk. Can't lift this one. Oh, I can't even check this one. Can I check the... Cannot check the trunk. Okay, so we're going to head back inside. Because it's just too cold out here. It's too much of a risk right now. And if I really need to, I know we know where all those nearby buildings are so that I can go ahead and get additional clothing. So we're going to hang out in here for the day, loot here for the day, do some sorting, etc. So with that being said, I should have a can on me because I've always got a can on me. Yep. So I'll take 2 cans. I'll have my bird. There's some nice matches here. So things to talk about. Let me take a moment to take a sip of my hot chocolate. I'm going to pause for that because I want to. Mondavu, why do you have hot chocolate in July in the South? Because my house is a decent temperature, which is one of the things I have to talk about, which I'm mad about. I'm not mad about my house being a good temperature. I'm mad about how we got here. And I'll explain. That also ties into probably the biggest news, but I will start with that. And I'll address the weird things you're seeing here as I start to interact with them. Besides just finding and picking them up, because I don't have much experience with this except for a glitch with the oats here. So my house has much better insulation now in the attic. It's actually quite fantastic because normally where I live, it gets hot pretty darn early, especially in my house because my house is. I've lived in this house since we moved in. We were the first people to live here. We own the house. We still live here. It's like a little tiny little glimpse of what the American dream was supposed to be. We have that tiny little corner of it. But of course that tiny little corner requires maintenance, and the insulation was one of those things. So why would you stab a candy bar like that? Okay. Anyway, so usually what happens down here is right around, let's see, April, maybe May if I'm lucky. I have to attach my window AC unit because my room is half of what used to be the garage. So there's no proper insulation. There's no I'm not connected into the house's main AC. And we can't do that because it's just realistically not something we can afford. That's thousands upon thousands of dollars of work. That's no. I can deal with that. Our compromise was putting a door, was giving myself a new door. That was the compromise for a good while there. Is I have my old door, which in order to get to my room, you would have to walk through the other half of the garage that is still very much like a garage, except that you can't pull cars into it. And then across the way, we put in a door that just leads straight on into my living room, so I can just keep the garage door side of my wall closed and walk out the other one. And it works better for me. And I get, oh, sweet. I get I get the benefit of, it's just better airflow. I can just immediately walk out into the AC. And because the walls that make up my room are insulated, I'm not dragging the outside air for the it's not quite outside air, but like you guys know, anyone who has a garage knows what I mean. The quote-unquote outside air into the rest of the house by having to go through the garage. So, like, that has also been helpful. I don't think I can wear 2 of these. I can wear 2 of these. That's gotta be awkward to walk around in. Like, because one of these is already kind of weird. 2 of these, that's not doing me any favors, but it is better than nothing. We will leave it alone for now. Because right now we're just raiding our base so that we know what we have. So that we know what is at our disposal. Let's see. So yeah, that's normally what I would have to do. We have new insulation in the attic, and it's just in the attic. Of course, my attic is in air quotes, because with my kind of house, like, yeah, we could put an attic up there, and we did use the area as storage space for a while. But it's not like what you would traditionally call an attic in comparison to most other houses, regardless of that house's age. That's just not quite how that works with my house. but we call it the attic because there's really no other word for it, because and also it just sounds weird to me personally to say we got new insulation in the roof, even though that's probably a more accurate description of what happened. But we got some real good insulation up there, and I have only just now barely started to get uncomfortable in my own room in the summer. Now, granted, we haven't hit them real hot months. We're about to enter July and August. That's going to be hard, but it'll be so much nicer than how it was before. Man, like, the last couple of years, I would just spend time in the living room because I couldn't be comfortable in my own house. All right, I'm going to take a moment to do a little sorting here. Let's see. All right, the 6 and 6 is fine. The bigger one can stay. And I'll leave one of the bandages, so that takes care of that one. But we got new insulation. It's a really good insulation. It's been doing us great on our power bill as well. So it's just like, sweet, this is fantastic. Well, Mondevu, you have this amazing new insulation. Where did you get it? You don't want it. Because you don't want everybody else you have to deal with to get this. Or the rest of the crap that we are still not done dealing with. So let me go ahead and run this one down for you. What is the name of the company? Because I am going to drop this. I am genuinely going to drop this name. I was looking it up. I was looking over their reviews. Let's see. Give me just a second here to check this on my phone, because I'm not tabbing out, because y'all know what my bad luck does with that. I already have crap luck with tech. I'm not going to increase the chances of that happening. Let's see. Was it this? Because I'll recognize the logo if I see it. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the name, because y'all need to know. And like normally I'm super careful about my own personal internet safety. Everybody who knows me knows this. But I can drop this name without actually telling you, hey, I live exactly here. I'm just close enough for these people to reach me. So, Atlanta Window Pros and Insulation. They're not pros. They're not pros. They're not. Absolutely not. You can look up their reviews. They suck. You can tell which reviews are the ones that they paid for, which ones don't say anything, and which ones are telling you all the information that we should have looked at. So, to start it off, my house is old. You know, like I said, we're the original tenants. And stuff needs replaced on a house after a while. So, we've been looking at replacing the windows, because we also need to replace the siding. And you have to do the windows first, because if you do it the other way around, you'll ruin the siding. So we started window shopping. Hang on, hot chocolate sip. I guess it's more like mild chocolate, because it's not really hot. It's just kind of warm, which is another reason I can have it in the summer. On top of the good insulation. So, like, if you want the insulation, see if you can figure out what third party they use for this, because the insulation is really good. The insulation is top-notch, as far as I'm concerned. Or at least that's been our experience with it. The windows are where we draw the line, because we still don't have them. We were given a presentation about this window, because we had several people give us quotes, and they would come take a couple measurements, ask us questions about what kind of windows we wanted. We'd get various quotes, and these are the people that we ultimately decided to go with, because it also came with this installation, and because it was, I want to say on sale at the time, but I don't know if that's the correct term for something like this. I guess they were having a sale, or they were having a discount at the time, and we took advantage of that. And if the timing had worked out the way it was supposed to, we would have had our windows in by now, which would have been great for a number of reasons, one of which is extremely important to me, and I'll get to it. I know I'm building, but I got to go through this one first. So the salesman comes out, does his job, upsells and all that, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're a salesman. I don't fault him for doing his job. At least not that part of it. So we had a serious talk about it. We got the price to where we could reasonably afford it, signed the contract for it then, for that specific price. And so far, price is not the primary issue. Sweet. Whetstones are good. Price is not the primary issue. Like I said before, we haven't gotten our windows yet. Because what was supposed to happen is we scheduled a time for a guy to come out and measure the windows. Okay, cool. We got that scheduled. And then guy came out to do the installation. Well, apparently there was a slight miscommunication because when he came out with his buddy, he looks at our house and he goes, "Are you guys getting the entire attic done, or just over the garage?" And we're like, "No, we're getting the entire attic done." He's like, "Okay, well, I don't have the materials today because I was told, your house was X size and it's Y size. So can I schedule this to come back?" And I don't remember if it was the next day or a week later. And we were like, "Okay, yeah, sure." Little disappointed, a little irritated, but he came out when he said he would, got it done, was nice and efficient, even had me check. Now, granted, I know nothing about, this stuff. I'm not a handyman or a construction worker or anything like that. But I know I knew approximately what it was supposed to look like based on what the salesman was showing. So I popped my head up there, looked around. I was satisfied. And to this point, still satisfied. The installation is good. Installation is very good. Whatever insulation they use up there, I'm going to try to find out what kind it is so that we can get at the new place without having to go through these mooks. So he comes out, does his job. He's great about it. Well, we're supposed to have information on, hey, your windows have made it to the warehouse, because the reason, one of the things this company will sell you on is there's no third parties with the windows. We have our own warehouse here in the state, so you can, so we're the one that makes the windows. You don't have to worry about any overseas shipping or any of that crap. And we're like, okay, that's cool. Where's our windows, buddy? You're in the state. You have your own warehouse, your own manufacturer, mind you, not distribution center, your own manufacturer. Where's our windows? So we're told, I actually have notes about this one. This particular episode, or part of the episode, depending on where I am in recording, might involve a lot of staring at boxes while I double check my info, because I have all that saved in my phone. And I've got it saved for a specific reason. Okay, so we were supposed to have, the installer come out, and the wait's supposed to work. And we warned them ahead of time because we have cats. It's like, look, we got to work around the cats. The way it works is one team comes in and takes down the windows, and then one team comes in right behind them on the same day to install the windows. Okay? Now, we got a call saying, hey, your windows are in. Here's the day we're going to come in and install. So we get up nice and early. I've got one of my friends over to help me corral the cats. And the guy's late by like an hour, and we're like, let's contact the sales rep, because we're supposed to contact him, and he's supposed to, be our median. So I think he reached out to like the project manager, and project manager's like, they're not there yet. Let me call and see what's going on. Well, it turns out, and I'm going to say this with the word allegedly. Keep in mind, what I'm about to say is sad and tragic if true, because, you shouldn't really have to go through this. But allegedly, the guy who was supposed to come out and start this whole project for us had a family member drown. And that's very sad. That's very tragic. The only reason I say if true is because when you're in a situation and there's a certain type of inconvenience that keeps repeating, once or twice, okay, it can happen. 3 times, it's a pattern. So 3 times we've had the same install scheduled, and 3 times something has gone wrong. Now, it's been something different every time, which is possible, but 3 is still a pattern. You can't change that. So, we decided, okay, this is BS. Well, we decided that after the 3rd attempt. We got our install pushed out a week because, poor guy had his family member die, allegedly. And I'm not the person who likes to use that term, allegedly, because it's like, oh, you're trying to not get in trouble. No, I'm just. It's you guys know me. I don't do politically correct. I can be tactful. I'm not going to be politically correct, because just at this point in society, screw your feelings. I'm sorry. I don't try to go out of my way to offend everyone, but if you're easily offended, I'm not going to baby you. You just got to learn how to toughen up, because if my generation can do it, so can yours. And I know that makes me sound like some kind of an old boomer, but I don't care. I don't care. Toughen up. So, all that being said, it is nice and quiet. I should be out there, but I'm still at hypothermic risk, because I got crap for clothes. Oh, I'm still at frostbite risk. Never mind. I'm not going out there, because I need stuff on my hands. It ain't warm enough yet, man. So we get pushed out for a week. And once again, okay, he's not showing up. This time we called within about 30 minutes of him being late. And project manager contacts him, calls us back and says, well, he's having trailer trouble. Okay. That was very vague. What else is going on? Oh, he's not going to be able to make it today. So at this point, we're very frustrated. So we get another schedule in to have these windows installed, which has to be pushed out further than the last one. And we called ahead of time, the day before even, to make sure. Do you have our windows? Are they coming in? Is this the day of the install? We called to verify this. And the day of the installation, we called 30 minutes before he was supposed to be there. Suddenly, they can't find our windows. 3 times. That's a pattern. I don't care what your excuse is. Don't care that the excuse is different. Don't even care that it could realistically be 3 different things. It's a pattern. We don't just have the 3 strikes rule because of baseball. Although strikes is probably the reason. Baseball is probably the reason we use the term strikes. We probably had a 3 chances rule before. Let me do some sorting. Some sorting of my inventory while I sort my stuff. I'm not going to need this yet.